YouTube. This is Dawn from hzscribe. How are you guys doing today? Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. Check out my Bible sketch notes. Again, I am not an artist. I've said it every single video, so you know that. But I am just illustrating it however I feel led to do so. When I get to that particular book, we are in the book of 1 Samuel. 3 key players here, as we all know: Samuel, Saul, and David. So last week, this is my overview. Last week we did Samuel, the life of Samuel, from his mom Hannah petitioning to him being birthed, and her deciding to give him back up to the church for Samuel to Eli to raise him. And this is his call, when he's called. And he was the humble spirit that he was. He said, "Yes, Lord." And so he replaced Eli as the prophet. So the next key player would be Saul. So I don't know what I'm going to do, because Saul is a complex person and he has a lot of other people attached to him, like David and Jonathan and things like that. But I'm just going to see what I want to put here for Saul and being the first king. So yeah, I'll put it on fast forward, draw something, my version of it. Maybe write something on it too, and then we'll come back and talk about that in the end. Alright, so we're done. And so with this one, this is not necessarily in order or anything. I just do some little things that made me think about Saul and his lifestyle and who he was as a person, his character, not his lifestyle, but his character. So we know that the people, they wanted a king. So they had the judges, and now they're in the mindset they want to be like all the nations around them. We want a king. And so God said, okay. The things that they looked at, that they valued at a king, they looked at the outward appearance, which again was his height, his handsome, beautiful, you know, they looked on the outward, and this is what man desired. So that was their desire. So God said, okay, based on your desires, what you want, I'm going to pick someone. He was taller than everybody else and all these wonderful attributes. But when you looked at him, pleasing to the eye and those kind of things. So Samuel the prophet anointed Saul to be king, the first king first physical king over Israel. So of course we know Jesus is the true king. And then so with that, of course, you know, he had a lot of battles, he had a lot of things going on. He did do some great things, you know, in the sense that, you know, he was able to defeat a lot of kings and stuff. So he was generous, he was admired and respected, you know. So let's see, and put that up here. He was generous, he was admired and respected, right? But we also know he was impulsive and he acted unwisely. So he lacked wisdom. He was disobedient to God. He distrusted. He didn't believe, you know, that God could answer him and give him the things that he wanted. He wanted to rely upon his own methods to get those answers. And so, as a result, he was dethroned. He went to go see the witch of Endor, and during that process, as we all know, necromancy and witchcraft is against God. That's why we don't in the Bible, we don't mess with witches. We don't honor witches because witches are considered demonic in God's eyes, and so they're evil. He doesn't want you to get information by any other door but through him, which is the Holy Spirit can tell you the future and those kind of things. So he doesn't want you to participate in this. And of course, he is the king, did that. And of course, that sets a bad example for the rest of the people. And so, you know, it just caused a whole bunch of problems. But we do know some of the other good things he did do was he was a king. And so he did bring rest to the land because he did do a lot of battles. I mean, he fought people like the Amorites. He fought, I'm trying to remember all the different armies that he fought. Let me see, I think I had some of them listed down. The Amorites, the Ammonites, the Philistines, the Moabites, and the Amalekites. All the ites. So he did that. So he did this for that amount of time. And he also reigned for 42 years. During this time, you know, he went through madness, and he had spirit probably opened the door when this happened. I can't remember the order. But he had David come and play his harp to get rid of the spirit. But he had all these battles, and he had the giants, the ites in the lands, you know, and he feared David. He was threatened by David. He had family and all this kind of stuff. He lost his lineage to be the heir to the kingdom because of his disobedience to God. So his insecurity here, he was insecure when he was being anointed as king. He was insecure here. He didn't believe it. I guess you could still say he was insecure here because he still didn't trust that God could speak to him and tell him what to do. So he was a warrior. He did bring some peace in the land when he was, you know, fighting the enemies. But, you know, in the end, he ended up committing suicide. He went after David so many different times to try to kill David because they didn't trust David, and David could have killed him, but he didn't. So anyway, Saul's life was not the ideal life as a king. So he taught us a lot of stuff, but that jealousy was really the thing that when they saying David, Saul has killed his thousands or whatever, and David killed his 10,000, however the song went, you know, that really messed him up. So we see how that turned him inside out. He couldn't let that jealousy go. He wanted to be the best and better than. And so that plagued him. So anyway, that's the troubled life of Saul, the first king. And God told him, you don't want to have a king. Let me just be your king. So this is what they did. They opened the door to all of this stuff, taxation, and all this other stuff, and wars and drama, by wanting to be like the other countries around them and not just being led by the Spirit of the living God. So that is what I wrote for today. And I will be back. I have a picture on my Instagram, hzscribe. Again, I'm not an artist. This is not about artistic ability. This is about representing the storyline. So I will be back next, and of course my next person I'm going to do is got to do David, because I mean that's what the whole book of 1 Samuel is all about, is this transition of power and leadership from the prophets, from the judges and the prophetic voice into a kingship, and now we're going to move into that with David. And so yeah, I'll be back with that next week. I dare you. Thank you for liking, watching, subscribing. I dare you to read your word. Take care, God bless. Bye-bye.